Have you ever witnessed something so incredible that it made you question everything you believe? Something that defied logic and left you absolutely speechless? Imagine seeing the impossible happen right before your very eyes. Today, we're diving into a world of wonder and awe as we explore the top 5 miracles of Jesus that have left people in awe for centuries. These stories, passed down through generations, have captivated the hearts and minds of countless individuals. Get ready to question everything you thought you knew, because things are about to get unbelievable. Our first miracle takes us to a wedding celebration in Cana. Picture this. The music's pumping, everyone's dressed to the nines, but there's one tiny problem. They've run out of wine. Now, running out of drinks at a party is a total buzzkill, but at a wedding in this time period, it was a huge social disaster. We're talking major embarrassment for the host. That's when Jesus steps in. He sees the host's panic, the guests starting to notice the empty cups, and he decides to do something about it. He asks for water, not just a little bit, but 6 huge stone jars full. We're talking about 150 gallons of water. Now imagine the scene. Everyone's watching, probably wondering what this guy Jesus is up to. He has the servants fill the jars to the brim, then tells them to draw some out and take it to the head waiter. The head waiter takes a sip, and his eyebrows shoot up in surprise. This isn't just any wine, it's the good stuff. He calls over the groom and says, "Dude, every host serves the best wine first, and then brings out the cheaper stuff after everyone's had a few. You saved the best for last." The guests are amazed. The wedding is saved from disaster, and everyone's talking about this miracle. But this wasn't just about rescuing a party. It was about Jesus revealing his power and his compassion for people. This miracle, turning water into wine, has been interpreted in so many ways. Some see it as a symbol of Jesus' ability to transform the ordinary into the extraordinary, to take something simple and make it something truly special. Others see it as a metaphor for how Jesus can take the mundane aspects of our lives and turn them into something beautiful and meaningful. It's a reminder that with faith, even the impossible can become possible. Imagine being stranded in the middle of nowhere with thousands of hungry people and absolutely zero food. That's the situation in our next miracle, and it's a real nail-biter. Jesus is out teaching, sharing his message with huge crowds of people who have come from all over to hear him speak. As the day goes on, everyone's getting hungry, and the disciples start to worry. They go to Jesus and say, "Dude, we're in the middle of nowhere. There's no way we can feed all these people. Send them away to find food." But Jesus has a different plan. He tells his disciples, "You feed them." Now, the disciples are freaking out even more because they literally have no food. All they have is a little boy's lunch, 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish. Talk about a snack attack. But Jesus takes that tiny lunch, looks up to heaven, and blesses it. Then, he starts breaking the bread and fish, handing it out to the disciples, who then distribute it to the crowd. And here's the crazy part. The food just keeps multiplying. There's enough for everyone, all 5,000 men, plus women and children, to eat until they're absolutely stuffed. This miracle, known as the feeding of the 5,000, is mind-blowing on so many levels. First, it shows Jesus' compassion and his desire to care for the physical needs of the people. But it also reveals his divine power to multiply resources, to take what little we have and make it enough to bless everyone. It's a reminder that with faith, even in the face of impossible odds, we can experience abundance and provision. Chapter 3. Our next miracle takes place on a stormy night out on the Sea of Galilee. The disciples are in a boat, battling huge waves and howling winds, when suddenly they see something that makes their blood run cold. A figure is walking towards them on the water. Now, anyone who's ever seen a horror movie knows that nothing good happens when something's walking on water. The disciples are terrified, thinking it's a ghost or some kind of sea monster. They start yelling in fear, but then they hear a familiar voice cutting through the storm. "Take courage, it is I. Don't be afraid. It's Jesus." Peter, always the bold one, calls out, "Lord, if it's really you, tell me to come to you on the water." Jesus says, "Come." So Peter, in a truly epic display of faith, steps out of the boat and starts walking on the water towards Jesus. Can you imagine that? The wind whipping around him, the waves crashing at his feet, and he's just walking on water like it's no big deal. But then, Peter takes his eyes off Jesus and starts looking at the storm raging around him. Doubt creeps in, and he starts to sink. He cries out, "Lord, save me!" Jesus immediately reaches out his hand, pulls Peter up, and helps him back into the boat. And as soon as they're both safely inside, the storm calms down. This miracle, Jesus walking on water, is a powerful metaphor for how faith can help us overcome even the most impossible challenges. When we keep our eyes fixed on Jesus, we can do the impossible. But the moment we let doubt and fear take over, we start to sink. It's a reminder that even when we stumble, Jesus is always there to pull us up and calm the storms in our lives. Chapter 4. Imagine living your entire life in complete darkness, unable to see the faces of your loved ones, the beauty of the world around you. That was the reality for the man in our next miracle, a man who had been blind since birth. One day, Jesus and his disciples encounter this man begging on the street. The disciples ask Jesus, "Rabbi, who sinned, this man or his parents, that he was born blind?" Jesus replies, "Neither this man nor his parents sinned, but this happened so that the works of God might be displayed in him." Then Jesus does something incredible. He spits on the ground, makes some mud with the saliva, and applies it to the blind man's eyes. Can you imagine witnessing this? The disciples must have been thinking, "What is he doing?" But Jesus tells the man to go wash in the pool of Siloam. The man, full of faith and hope, does exactly what Jesus says. And when he washes the mud from his eyes, something miraculous happens. He can see. For the first time in his life, he experiences the gift of sight. The world explodes with color, shapes, and faces he's never seen before. This miracle, the healing of the blind man, is a testament to Jesus' power to heal, not just physical ailments, but also spiritual blindness. It's a reminder that Jesus can open our eyes to see the world and ourselves in a whole new light. This miracle also reminds us that sometimes we need to take a leap of faith, even if it means doing something that seems strange or unconventional. The blind man could have easily doubted Jesus, but he trusted him, and that trust led to a life-changing miracle. Chapter 5. Our final miracle is perhaps the most well-known, the resurrection of Lazarus. This story takes us to Bethany, where Jesus' friends, Mary, Martha, and Lazarus, lived. When Lazarus becomes ill, his sisters send word to Jesus, knowing he can heal. But Jesus stays where he is for 2 more days. By the time Jesus arrives, Lazarus has been dead for 4 days. Martha, heartbroken, meets Jesus and says, "Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died." Jesus tells her, "Your brother will rise again." Martha replies, "I know he will rise again in the resurrection at the last day." Jesus says, "I am the resurrection and the life. Whoever believes in me will live, even though they die. Do you believe this?" Martha replies, "Yes, Lord, I believe that you are the Messiah." Jesus, deeply moved, goes to the tomb. He orders the stone to be rolled away and cries out, "Lazarus, come out!" Lazarus, who had been dead for 4 days, walks out of the tomb. Can you imagine the look on everyone's faces? The joy, the disbelief, the sheer awe of witnessing death defeated? This miracle is the ultimate demonstration of Jesus' power over death. It's a promise that death is not the end, that there is hope beyond the grave. Through faith in Jesus, we can experience eternal life, both now and in the future. It's a message of hope, comfort, and assurance that Jesus is with us, and he has the power to bring life out of death. Wow, we've just journeyed through some of the most incredible stories ever told. Stories of miracles that have challenged our understanding of what's possible. From turning water into wine to walking on water, healing the blind to raising the dead, these accounts of Jesus' life have captivated and inspired millions for centuries. These miracles have fascinated and inspired millions. What do you think? Do they make you question what you believe? Do they spark a sense of wonder within you? We want to hear your thoughts. Don't forget to smash that like button, hit subscribe for more mind-blowing content, and let us know in the comments which miracle you found most incredible. Until next time, keep questioning, keep exploring, and keep the adventure alive. These miracles have fascinated and inspired millions. What do you think? Do they make you question what you believe?